When photographing digitally, most cameras offer the opportunity to save images in 2 or 3 file formats. The most common file format is JPEG, or Joint Picture Excerpts Group. JPEGs are compressed files. They use a form of compression that's called lossing because some of the image data is lost in the compression process. By removing information considered to be extraneous, the file size can be decreased quite significantly. All digital cameras allow for varying degrees of JPEG compression. The higher the degree of compression, the lower the visual quality of the image and the smaller the file size of each recorded image. Smaller file sizes also allow you to save more images to the memory card. When photographing images with high JPEG compression, with the intent of displaying them on a computer, there'll be little or no visual loss in quality. The images will look good on a computer monitor. If you're photographing with high JPEG compression and wish to make print enlargements, the print size will be limited to possibly no larger than a 4x6 standard print. If the image is photographed with very little JPEG compression, enlargements to sizes of 16x20 or even larger are quite possible. The balance when capturing images and determining file format size is how many shots can be taken before your memory card is full. Lower JPEG compression results in better image quality and larger file sizes. The larger the file size being captured, the slower the transfer from your memory card to your computer, the more hard drive space you will use to store your images, and the slower the image editing software will work when rendering these images. If you shoot with high JPEG compression, so small file sizes, you will be able to save more shots to your memory card, your hard drive will not fill up as quickly, and your photo editing software will run faster. The downside to shooting with significant JPEG compression is that the image quality ultimately suffers. If you end up with a fabulous shot captured with the greatest amount of JPEG compression, you might find that the largest print you can make from the file is a 4x6. Some digital cameras allow you to capture in a file format known as Tiff, or Tagged Image File Format. While Tiff is not as common a file format, it is a lossless or non-lossy format, which ultimately means that image file information is not discarded during the capture. The disadvantage of capturing your images using the TIFF file format is that the size of your image files may be quite large. The advantage of this format is that all computer operating systems are able to open TIFF files. The final photographic file format to discuss is known as RAW. This is a proprietary file format specific to each camera manufacturer and sometimes even to specific models of cameras from the same manufacturer. The advantage of RAW is that it's also a lossless file format, typically smaller in physical size than the TIFF file format. Now, despite the smaller file size, this format retains all of the same information as TIFF and even more actually. Currently, the disadvantage of shooting in RAW is that you may need proprietary software in order to open, view, and manipulate the image. Otherwise, it's the file format of choice for professional photographers. When photographing digitally, you have the choice of which of these formats to shoot in. The very best format, or the format that offers the most image information, is the RAW file. The RAW file is also the most complex to work on simply because it uses separate software with multiple options for image development. The most common file format choice for beginning photographers would be the largest JPEG file size. While this format may not offer the very best in quality, it more than makes up for any deficiencies by being far easier to handle digitally than the other formats. In most cases, viewing a compressed image does not seem to affect our visual appreciation for the photograph. In reality, there are many different blue, cyan colors that make up a blue sky. When the image is compressed, the camera removes a large number of those different colors. When the image is played back, the digital information in the blue sky is still present, but the total number of colors is dramatically lowered. We'll still see a blue sky, but not with the full range of the blue or cyan that the camera recorded in the first place. Removing some of the hues of the blue allowed the file size to be reduced significantly without negatively affecting the appearance of the image. Most digital cameras offer you the opportunity to control the resolution of the image. This is different than compression because compression refers to removing extraneous or redundant information from the final saved image file. When you change the resolution, you change the amount of information that's initially captured. If you set your camera to a low resolution setting, then the camera will lack the ability to actually see as much color or detail. If you set the camera to a higher resolution, you're allowing the camera to record more information in the way of color and detail. Having strong compression of a photographic file actually reduces the amount of information that's saved to the memory card. And having a lower resolution set on the camera actually lowers the camera's ability to capture the information in the first place. So what does all this mean? Basically, most photographers will photograph in the largest JPEG file size, or the least JPEG compression, with the largest resolution setting, or the largest file size. As a photographer, you are benefiting by having a smaller compressed image that is easy to work on in software and that looks as good as photographing in one of the lossless file formats.